Sneaker Box.
Oh, shit alert.
Yo, Detroit is definitely in the building via your headphones, stereo, and speakers. And of course, this is the Sneaker Box podcast / radio show, Sneaker Bar Detroit, DTLR. And of course, I'm your host, the African Caesar. I'm going to jump right into it. Got a just packed show for y'all today.
2 phone calls.
Yes, 2.
We may not make it to the Fab Five.
No, I know. Not, we might not make it to the phone calls the way we do our Fab Five. But joining me today is the contrarian of the show, Gino.
Yo.
Yes. Who's I'm telling you, this season fluctuates because now the Lakers, I can't call it. Like it's going to be a close call. It might come down to the last game of the season.
Well, for them to actually make the playoffs?
Well, yeah, you might win $50. You might,
it'd
be funny.
Again, it's not me winning.
Okay, so you might only have to end up paying $50. Guru has. Yeah.
We had that talk earlier today too. So. No, it's just funny because he doesn't believe in Luke Walton as a coach, but he still thinks they're going to make the playoffs.
Who?
Oh,
he's a white guy.
What game does he play?
He coaches. Yeah.
Google him. You got the computer right there.
What was his name? Pat
Walton? Luke Walton.
Luke Warren.
What does it sound like he does?
Walton. Lobbies for pro-life.
Wow. You might not be too far off. But of course, that is our co-producer / Googler in his free time. Is that a villain or a hero? I'm trying to figure it out.
It depends.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's Francis 313.
He's conflicted.
Yes. And then, of course, we have our Rabbi Saint, just the overall, he's the North Star to our show. Guru.
What's going on?
This Luke Walton guy played basketball before?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not a rabbi. I don't have that privilege. He knows what I'm talking about. That's why he's laughing. I'm not blessed with that privilege. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, like I said, yo boys are crazy.
Yes, man.
Did JB talk to anybody today? No?
I ain't talking about that.
Okay. Well, he'll be here, maybe, possibly.
This Luke Walton guy doesn't look like he likes the word no.
Wow, no, that's Kobe. That's another Laker.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, so
that was years ago.
Still.
This guy's one phone hack away.
Time's up.
Me too.
Time's up, Gino.
Me
too.
Look, all I got to say is she consented. It was just rough.
Oh my, we're not getting into that.
God.
Today's topics. Foot Locker seems to be in a giving mood lately. They're just giving people just $1 million checks left and right. So
I need to try and go get hired back.
I'll take one.
No.
I left at the wrong time.
That could have been yours.
Man, I'm slipping.
There's a lot of upcoming collabs this year. It's just probably more than ever. Graphic designer Anderson Bluu will be joining us later to make a special announcement, and then later we'll be joined by Sheena Butler-Young. I know I feel about 3 names, so I'm just gonna call her She Young. Writer, multimedia journalist, and business editor for Footwear News. So anyway, if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Twitter at TSB_radio. You can follow us on Instagram at @TheSneakerBox_radio. And then you can follow us on Facebook by simply looking up the Sneaker Box Radio Show page. Oh, I'm knocking over all time.
Man.
Oh, sorry.
That's not even yours.
I know, right?
What's in that cup, see?
That's Butters.
Mountain Dew. Oh, that's Terrace. No,
No,
that's
that was-
Philip.
I can only see the bag, and I'm
Phillip.
assuming it's Butters.
That's Philip.
That's Philip.
Oh, Philip.
You know, I haven't caught. Is there a new season out yet or something?
No. No
That's
idea.
a
So
good
I feel
question.
like it's needed. Like I feel like they're the show we need right now.
Are they still on?
I was going to say, I feel like I was watching some newer stuff the other week on Hulu. I don't know if it's a current season, though.
I mean, with everything that's going on in the government, this would be perfect for
I
South
know.
Park.
PC Principal is by far my favorite character, like on TV right now. It's Gordon Ramsay, and then it's PC Principal. I just like watching Gordon Ramsay yell at people.
Yeah, they're still on. They did 297 episodes.
Oh, Jesus.
We're on their 22nd season.
So anyway, let's get right into it. Let's get into our 5 sneaker releases from the previous week. Wow, that's half a drop right there. Number 5, we had the Social Status Special Edition Air Jordan Retro 6. Those shoes confuse me. I'm not really sure what they're trying to be.
I like them.
I don't hate them. That's
I don't
the
like
thing.
the 250, but I like them.
I'm in a weird
ones, the black and purple?
sneaker purgatory on this. Like I don't know how to feel about it.
You sure you in a sneaker purgatory?
Like because I don't know if I hate them or
Is
love
it just
them.
for that one shoe? Because you get stuff early now. So
No, man.
What are the samples like?
Man.
Tell us about the samples.
I know.
Well, the difference between the sample pair and the pair that's coming out. No, I don't know how I feel about that.
Told you got that Travis Scott with the swoosh going the right way.
Man.
Yeah. It must be nice.
Wow.
It must be nice. All your shoes come with orange boxes.
Damn.
No barcodes.
I love how they know more about my stock than I do. Like I couldn't tell you what the box looked like.
He doesn't pay attention to it.
No, I don't.
He's so used to seeing it.
I know.
It's all a blur.
Yeah.
I'm taking like 3 sips of this right now.
He's like, all the boxes don't come in with Fente pegs.
Hey, look, when he give me, be like, God damn, another one?
How does it feel for you to be the reason why Kawhi Leonard's wearing New Balances?
If I'm supposed to feel bad about that, I guess.
I mean, you took his Jordan
don't.
contract, so I mean,
I was going to say, the rumor is 33 was designed for you.
But they didn't give me that.
Exactly.
They didn't give me that check.
The 33 was designed for you.
See special.
Yeah.
I saw that Travis Scott 33.
Skills trade. That's what they had
Trash.
the skills trade, pull strap, and everything, man. So
Yeah,
that shoe had a lot of engineering for it to come from a shoe company, you know. So
that Travis Scott 33 in person's like,
Yeah.
it's like I wasn't like blown away. It's just like another 33.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. But, yeah, you're right. It's like another 33. Speaking of which, I'm returning my red ones for those Chinese New Year's. I had buyer's remorse.
or you plan on going to LA this year?
look what he got on.
Or you plan on going to LA this year?
So you should have worn 33s with that.
Hey, look, if it's up to me, we're going back to Oakland, but Jumpman really wants to go to LA, so I guess LA it is. So that's number 5. Number 4, we have the Air Jordan Retro 1 Blue Chill, or UNC as everybody else is calling them.
Those are dope.
Very dope. Ladies.
That's straight.
I'm
These
mad they
extended
ain't
sizes.
They ain't
No,
making
I don't think
past like a women's 12 though. That's the biggest.
Yeah.
I would definitely like the pair.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
Suckers.
But I will say this.
Yeah, I ain't got
fellas,
I ain't
let the
got
ladies
nothing for you on
live.
that one.
Let the ladies live on this one. Let them have it. I know y'all not gonna
They
listen.
can't have this one. This one too cold for this one.
I mean, that is kind of disappointing that they didn't make that in the men's size.
A shoe that's most like 2 types of blues. You can't make it. So let me get this right. The shoe that was that red 4, you made all the way up to what?
Like a 18 and
Yeah,
men.
yeah. But the shoe that has blue, which is associated with guys, especially like baby blue, whatever, you
Yeah.
don't have that.
I agree. Like I don't know who's making these decisions. Probably the same people that made the Black History Month joint. So, speaking of, that's another thing I wanted to get into, man. Complex and kiss my ass. Anyway, number 3.
I'll be happy.
They gonna look at us like, no, y'all gotta go.
Man, I got some thoughts about them. Number 3, we have the Nike Air Max 98 Wild Wild West. Now, honestly, this is probably my favorite out of everything that came out.
Those are really nice.
Those are really nice.
Those are
really
sweet.
dope.
I like those.
Yeah, real dope. Francis, anything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Number 2.
All right, there it is.
That's Francis putting his stamp of approval on that shit.
Could you sum that up in fewer words, please?
Yes, that was a little too long.
Yeah.
We kind of drug that out. Number 2, and this is kind of a shocker, and honestly, this is what I be saying, colorway sometimes can make a shoe. The Adidas Sobakov, Off-White, Core Black, and Raw Amber. These are dope. So dope. Like, when I saw these. Yeah, like I just feel like Adidas hasn't done it justice with the colorways they have produced, and most of the dope colorways come out overseas, so you don't really get a chance to see it over here.
Well, you and Jumpman bosses don't buy Adidas, so they're like, why even release
I got
them?
Adidas.
Well, Jumpman doesn't.
Jumpman,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Outside
Boostman
Yeezy.
does.
Well, Adidas
Yeah.
don't put out a lot of samples, so I mean, you wouldn't have a lot.
I feel like Jumpman is like split. Like he's like
It's two
he
different people.
has all these personalities. Yeah, he has a
It's like-
personality for each brand.
It's like Bruce Wayne and Batman.
There you go. But yeah,
What's the Adidas sample box look like?
I have no clue.
You wouldn't know yet. He hasn't been
look,
blessed
after
yet.
this week, they really don't like me.
Because he hate on Adidas.
I
So
hope
he
they're.
hate
I
on Yeezys.
hope they're stronger than the retail boxes. Because boy, you ever try to stock some Adidas boxes in the store? Boy,
About as bad as some Timberland
I was
boxes.
gonna say you ain't lying. They boxes made out of construction paper. And then number 1, this is a shocker to me. I honestly didn't. I thought the shoes were dope, but I didn't think they were going to be number 1. But number 1, we have the Nike Air Vapor Max Plus Regency Purple.
is that the Charlotte Hornet looking one?
Yeah,
Those are really nice.
those are dope. I didn't think it was gonna be no one. Honestly, I thought the Browns were gonna be.
I don't like Vapor Maxes, so.
Oh no, I don't. Well, the Vapor Max Pluses are dope.
I don't like any of them
because they actually have a midsole on it, and so it kind of gives that added comfort to it.
In my opinion, they all are very overrated. I'm just looking forward to the 720s.
It's overrated.
I just want the 720s.
I ain't gonna say that.
That's all I care about. In terms of anything with Air Max O right now.
That's not overrated.
What?
No.
Vapor Max Plus?
The look. You talking about the look or the comfort?
One, they're comfortable. Two, the colorways.
No.
That's it. Just give me this.
Oh, you should see the. Remember the original? Remember the prototype you saw? Yeah.
You ever sprinkle like Tide pockets and just walked on them? That's how the original one looked.
No, the original had squares at the bottom.
Yeah, that's the top.
Okay.
I mean, what came to be doesn't look that much better anyway. So.
Oh yeah.
I like the utility one, the Vapor Max Run utility.
Yeah,
that looks like a
anything with a midsole. Like I'm not a big fan of the regular Vapor Maxes because they don't have that midsole.
The utility looks like a Drake version. Just put some suspension ropes on the side.
Yeah, sold.
I mean, that's what they do. You did all that Air Max.
Ugliest release of the week is the Nike Air Max 720 Saturn. Like I'm just gonna call it. That shoes. No, that's not high top.
Oh, black and yellow. That is a. Yeah, I thought that was like a wrestling boot.
It's confusing.
Yeah, you wouldn't be too far off. Real quick though, like the reason I mentioned Complex because I had, we had talked about it on the show, like the last couple of shows about the Black History Month collection. And we weren't the only show to talk about it, but let's be real, like it was mostly black folk. Like, cause let's see how I want to say this. Yeah, let's just keep it 100. Let's keep it 100.
Say what you gotta say, man.
Let's keep it 100. Outside of the black community, nobody was really checking for Black History Month. Nobody really has any invested stock into it, right? And so those are the people that got outraged. Like, we weren't the only show to talk about it. However, I did take umbrage with the fact that, like, I guess it was the Full Size Run or whatever. Somebody brought it to my attention. I don't watch that show. I feel like, that show is for like 12 and under. And so... So
you're disrespected at all time, huh? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, it's meant to be. And so, they talked about, like, I just felt like it was a disingenuous conversation. Like, one, you got two dudes up there that could give a shit about Black History Month. They ain't checked about it. They ain't thought about it.
Who was up there?
Brendan Doon, Matt Welty.
Brendan Doon?
Yeah.
From Soul Collector?
Yes.
Okay, this dog.
I can't diss him. I just did.
You Brendan Doon from Soul Collective. Wow. Okay,
that's me paying respect. He did write the article. If I'm gonna read your article, I'm gonna pay respect. That's the problem I have. Like, if I'm gonna read your article, I'm gonna give you the proper respect of shouting out who you are and where you wrote it from, in case somebody wants to get the full detail. Because when we read it,
I'm saying, like, I didn't think that he would have something gloss over as much as.
And let's be honest too, though. Like, I mean, the articles. I mean, basically, if anybody that knows anything about writing these articles, the brands basically send you what to write. Like, he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just puts it up there and puts his name on it. So let's keep that 100. But I just felt like it was a disingenuous. And then, like, and they didn't do too much talking. It was the other guy. I forgot his name. Who's the talking black dude on the show?
Trinidad James.
Yes. And so,
how can you forget about him?
He's easily forgettable. But anyway,
all gold, everything.
Yeah. So anyway, they talked about it. They brought up, and it felt disingenuous. It was almost like, when you're in school and the teacher asks a question, and you look over at the person next to you, paper, to find the answer, and then you shout it out as if you had the answer. And that's the way it came off. It was just like,
what they say.
Like, they were just talking about it, but it was like you could tell the only reason they were talking about it because everybody else was talking about it, and they were just taking talking points they heard from other people. It didn't sound as if it came from them. It didn't sound as if this is something they thought about. They literally, like FBCC Bay Area, he brought up the fact that the Nerf gun was created by Lonnie Johnson and whatnot. And so Trinidad James apparently follows him, and so he brought it up on the show. But just the way they did it, man, like sometimes the way you talk about things and the way you do things can throw the message off, because if you talking about it as if it came from you and you don't, pay respects to the source, then it just comes off as disingenuous. And so, I just felt like he could have shouted out FBCZ Bay Area. He could have, brought it to the people's attention, who are, if there's people out here who are championing these types of people constantly, then why not shout them out so people can go to that person and constantly, get that type of information. But if you're going to go up there and act like you had the answers, or if it was your idea, then it becomes a problem because, you know, all of a sudden now you conscious. You know what I'm saying? You calling white people the N-word all the time and now you conscious. So it just, I don't know. It just bothered me. It rubbed me the wrong way because I just felt like, y'all could have shouted out the people that gave you that information. You could have shouted out, you know, you could have gave him a shout out and gave him his due respect. I mean, you're not already talking about him. Here's a black man with his own shoe. It's Black History Month. Y'all not talking about him. You know what I'm saying? So don't act like you conscious because you stole his Instagram post and threw it out there as if it was yours. So that's all I'm saying.
I mean,
wasn't that one of your sneaker rules?
But see, there's a difference though. Like when you, like, this is the point I want to make. This is the point I want to make though. Like when you are inspired by something, you shout out the source, right? Like if I'm inspired by Motown, I'm going to say, yo, like Motown inspired me, right? But if you're looking to just make money, you're going to just pilfer and take without giving proper acknowledgement to the source.
I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Bicycles. He said it. You can't hold people in this sneaker community to the same rules that you hold yourself. Everybody don't live by the real dude principles. Like you don't. So I stopped getting mad a long time ago when I see stuff. This is the norm. Even though I don't accept it, that's because that's how people are. Social media has corrupted a lot of cultures. They have done well, but it's also have done bad.
But you know what? This hit a nerve because of the subject matter. That's why I like, cause like, that's why I wrote the thing. And let me point this out too. I purposely waited a week. Now, we had a show we were supposed to do the week that we were supposed to talk about all the Black History Month stuff, but we got snowed out, you know, and whatever. So we did record that week. So that's why we didn't mention it until last week. But I purposely waited to post my article just to see if any other blog would talk about it.
Yeah,
they
did from anybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice Kicks didn't talk about it. Kicks on Fire didn't talk about it. Sneaker News, Sneaker Files, Soul Collector, name them. Heist Nobody. Hype. Nobody else talked about it. And that's why I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and post it out there. And I kind of wanted to see what the response will be. And so far, so good. And I really wanted to get to a letter. I think Anderson is going to call us in a minute. But I got a few letters from a lot of people at Adidas specifically, people of color who work at Adidas, who basically thanked me for not only what I wrote, but for our show and for talking about the things we talked about because, you know, for the most part, it was factual. It was how they feel, and they felt like, okay, we were able to say the things they can't say, and we were able to speak to them and whatever misery they have. Matter of fact, we got 3 minutes. I'll read the one letter right now. I got it up. The letter, this is from an anonymous person. Obviously, they can't come out and say who they are in fear of retribution, but basically, the letter said, "Hi, Rashawn. I've been following your recent articles and podcasts on Adidas, and as a current employee, words cannot express how accurate you are in the way the company operates and the direction it's heading. Tone deaf, culture vulture, and out of touch are words I will use to describe Portland-based leadership. And as a person of color, I am constantly experiencing the company's lack of regard for internal representation or the need to diversify. After a few news articles ran in late 2018 about the racial tensions at the company implemented a diversity and inclusion initiative to cover up a major shortcoming. But as you can see, based on Black History Month releases and the lack of elevating and championing, I need to sound that word out, minority employees, it is something that they are still not taking seriously. People of color have been unfairly fired, forced out of the company, subjected to go on leave due to work environment, and have been given no career path or mentorship and opportunities for leadership roles. You may have heard about this internal letter that has been circulated internally and externally. This was sent to the president and members of his team months ago, and there was no response. And we did talk about that story maybe a month ago or so. It details the experience people of color deal with on day to day. The need to conform to the Adidas way, being white and from Portland, is expected. There is no acceptance of different faces, attitudes, approaches to culture and business. It's not authentic, and people of color at Adidas are sick of it. People of color that are trying to make change work on the D&I initiatives to support the company and not being compensated or spotlighted for the extra work they are doing to help move the company into 2019. All the white folk or cliques are constantly being promoted. It's unfair, and people of color at Adidas should not be exposed to this behavior. Unfortunately, people need to survive in a predominantly white market with predominantly white company that exploits people of color. I've attached the letter for your reference. I felt compelled to write you because what you are sharing are facts with the marketing and examples you are highlighting. Black History Month launch, tone deaf, next level, reactive response to Nike. That was another post I wrote about how Adidas seems to react to Nike instead of just doing their own thing and leading from the front, right? Like if somebody's in front of you, like obviously Nike's in front of you because you're always reacting like Air Max Day. They got to put up billboards everywhere. Like, we don't need Air. Like, okay. You know, it's like, why? Why do you feel the need? It's just petty to me. Anyway, everything the company does is a reaction to Nike. They can't lead of their own. One piece of technology took them to new levels of success, but they couldn't maintain because they're 100% inauthentic and can't define culture. Culture to Adidas is Fashion Week and a party in a key city like LA or New York. Culture in 2019 is led through the conversation of skin color. Ask the president what Adidas's point of view on race is. He doesn't have one. It's a sad reality that we live in. Thank you for your time. And then that person did attach letters that people at Adidas sent to the president of Adidas amongst his staff and management. So like stuff like that, that's what drives me, right? Like when we talk about things, and typically when I talk about stuff on the show, I'm just talking from my point of view, but to know that it hit a nerve and that it spoke to people that actually work there, people of color that actually work there, that to me meant a lot. So I think we got Anderson on the phone. Anderson.
Yo, what's going on?
What's up, man? It's been a while.
I'm good. It's been a long while, actually. How's everything going with you?
Man, it's been good. I got Guru, Francis, and Gino in the studio with me as well today.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing?
Yo, we're doing.
But yeah, so this has been like a couple weeks, and we talked about this like almost a month ago, right? Excited to kind of allow you to share this news. So I guess without further ado, what's the big news?
Yeah, man. Anderson Bluu from New York, do a lot of art. This February, I'm actually doing a project with Foot Locker, and we're doing this big G.I. Joe capsule collection. February 22nd, we're going to be releasing a whole bunch of apparel for G.I. Joe, hats, socks, t-shirts, and we also have ASICS on the project. This will be my first design sneakers with ASICS. And on February 22nd, we have a Snake Eye Storm Shadow sneaker to celebrate this big collection. Yeah, I'm excited for everybody to see what the product looks like. I'm excited for it to hit retailers. It's going to be a global exclusive. And yeah, I can't wait to, what people's feedback are and hear what they have to say.
Now, for people that don't know, Anderson, he makes the graphics, like the sneaker graphics, like I bought a couple from him. He had the Spider-Man wearing the up-tempos. He had Bugs Bunny wearing, obviously, the Hair 7s. The Back to the Future, he has, I'm trying to find the best way to describe it. But he's a very talented graphic artist.
Thank you. I just tell people it's like sneaker art prints, pretty much. So it's like artwork that's catered to the person that loves sneakers or to the person that loves pop culture. Mm-hmm. What I do is I take my two loves of sneaker, pop culture, mix them together, and then I just make artwork out of it.
No, see, this is the beauty. Like, we got a lot of heat for going to sneaker cons and whatnot, but this is the beauty of it because this is how we met you. And it's just funny who you meet and run into at these different events. And while there is a lot of nonsense there are a few hidden gems, such as yourself. And it's good to see how you've grown since we first met you and to, once again, be able to participate in something like this. It's definitely dope. And, we're proud of you and happy for whatever success comes out of it.
This is Guru. First of all, I want to congratulate you on that opportunity. That's dope that you've had the opportunity. I mean, you have the opportunity to do so. My question for you is, do you know which models that they're releasing?
Gel Light 3.
Gel Light 3?
Yeah. So before I even designed anything, they felt the Gel Light 3 would have been the perfect model for it. For those who don't know, these characters are two ninjas, two best friends that almost have like a close brothership. And pretty much joined a ninja clan. And long story short, their master dies, and they pretty much have a big falling out. So that's the story that Foot Locker went with ASICS. And they just thought that the gel light would have been the perfect sneaker to tell that story.
Well, that's what's up.
All right, real quick before we get going, did you not only design the artwork on the footbed, but I see packaging here? Did you design that also?
No. So the sneaker packaging is like the original artwork that they had for the toys from like the late 80s and 90s. So we just tried. So the whole goal was to make it look like you were buying the toy back in the 90s. So we just pretty much dived into the archives and picked the outfits from those characters. What I did was each sneaker, when I had the opportunity to do it, I decided to base it off of both ninjas, use their personality, their characteristics to build a silhouette.
Yeah, we're looking at I think we're looking at pictures of it now. Those are dope. Like I love the shoe and the packaging. And I think we even lamented about this before in the show, how the packaging can add to the
you be dissing the quality though.
Yeah, no, look, because this I'm not gonna get into it, but my whole thing is you don't know nothing about what sells you is the look of the shoe. You know about the quality once you get the shoe in hand.
But that sometimes can unsell you on the shoe.
That's true.
Facts.
That's true. But there's a lot of Jordan 12 sell like crazy, and they're probably the most uncomfortable shoe as of late.
No, that's comfort. We're talking about quality. Well, comfort and quality too.
Well, it's the same thing. If you're gonna walk around uncomfortably, what's quality to you?
I think it depends what kind of foot you have. You know, ASICS is a running company, so it's more of a narrow fit. So if running shoes don't fit you, I mean, you know, this one is going to be the same result. You know what I mean?
So
I just think it all depends on what your shoe fit is.
How long did this process take from when you guys first discussed it to now? Like how long was that process?
Whew. From the beginning to now, it is about a year. So last April, Foot Locker reached out, and this is only supposed to start out as just me designing T-shirts and apparel for the capsule collection, and then ASICS jumped on, and then they wanted to be a part of it. And I said, yeah. I actually went down to the Boston facility, like the same people that Ronnie Feig worked with, the same people I worked with. We sat down for a long, long day. I picked out all the swatches and we talked about different ideas and, you know, threw some stuff at the wall until we thought we had two solid pieces that we thought G.I. Joe fans can enjoy and people like ourselves who are into sneakers can enjoy.
Was there any talk about maybe extending it beyond just a partnership with Foot Locker and maybe just kind of like packaging it as something by yourself?
Oh, like just an Anderson Bluu project?
Yeah.
No, when I went down there, my sole focus was just to get this project out. When I jumped in, I came a little behind. And, you know, when it comes to these deadlines, you have to be quick to get everything out, especially since ASICS is based out of Japan. So we didn't really have a lot of talk about that. But like I said, my main goal to go down there and just create the best sneakers I could.
Well, you did a good job.
But you never know what happens in the future.
That's true.
You never know.
So first, where can people find you? Like if they want to find out more about you and your art and your graphic prints.
Yeah, you can find me bluudreams.com. That's spelled BLUU dreams.com. That's the best way to pick up my artwork. Once a month, I'm always releasing new sneaker art prints. And the best way to keep up with me daily is Instagram, Anderson_Bluu, Anderson_BLUU. Every day I'm putting up artwork, showing the process of how I do everything. Right now I'm telling the story behind the two characters, showing all the original artwork it took to put everything together. If you see any characters on the sneakers, like from the ninja to Snake Eyes, I drew all that stuff. Even on the sole of the villain, I drew that, especially with the pattern on the white storm shadows. I hand drew all that stuff and put it together. So, it was a lot of fun. And I had a lot of fun putting this all together.
And what's the, I guess, is there a release date? I think you said February 22nd, right?
Yeah, so the release date's February 22nd. They're still working on a few details.
Okay.
And I think we have a few more surprises coming up, so that should be good. But one of the things I'm excited about is I actually have my own, I always do sneaker art prints, but this is the first time I'm actually drawing my own sneakers in the art print, so that's cool. So still going to be super limited, and it'll be available solely on my website. And then after that, once it's that number that sells out, I'll never make it again. Right now, it is limited to just 100, and that's it. Global release.
All right, awesome, man.
What's the retail on that? On the shoes?
For the print?
No, for the shoes.
Oh, the shoes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the retail is right now. I know they're still working out those fine details, but I think it'd be around the same average price as one of those ASICS Gel Light 3 exclusives.
Most definitely. Okay. So definitely, to all our listeners, definitely show support. Follow him, check out his artwork, and if you can get your hands on him, definitely pick up those ASICS Gel Light 3. Anderson, thank you for coming on the show. Do not be a stranger. You got another collab coming
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for speaking to all you guys. Thanks.
No problem, man. Wish
Thanks
you
for the opportunity.
Yeah,
you guys have a nice
too,
night.
man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so dang, Foot Locker just got their hand in everything, huh?
See, why can't like we said last week, Nike and Adidas like reach out to do Black History Month collabs? Like why? Like that's easy, right?
We asking for too much.
I'm just saying,
honestly,
come on, man.
Between Nike and Adidas and their Black History Month collections, and then J-Lo doing a Motown tribute, I think we should start February over. Just start over. You know what I'm saying? Let's rewind back to February 1st and just start this whole month over.
Well, that half-ass Aretha Franklin tribute.
Man, you know what? I just feel like at this point, don't even celebrate us. Like, honestly, just let us, just because y'all can't get it right.
Don't say that. They're gonna really
they not, because I'd rather you not do it than do some half-ass job and then act like we're supposed to just applaud your effort. Like, I'm straight.
I feel like it's coming to a point in time where, as Black people, we have to stop waiting on other people or judging how other people celebrate us and just celebrate us on their own.
That's what I mean.
No other culture waits on. The Jewish community doesn't wait on you. The Italians don't wait. Like, stop waiting for other people and just celebrate each other. Like the Super Soaker stuff and all that. Like, when I was at California Pizza Kitchen, during Black History Month, we had chalk name tags. So every day I would write a Black person who did something in history. So when I go to a table, they're like, what's your name? Mansa Musa. I'm like, yeah, this is, and I would tell them the story. And I had regulars who would come in like, who's on your name tag today? And I would tell them history about, that's how I was able to put my part on Black History Month. I think that's kind of.
It'd be funny, like people just there to get a pizza and Guru was giving them this history lesson.
Yeah, I did.
But no, like, shout out to you though.
I mean, that's that wealth of knowledge, man.
No, I ain't mad at you. I just make a joke. But,
always trying to turn to something else.
But speaking, like, cause I don't know why, like, this is really, once again, this is bothering me. Like, I'm trying to figure out who's in the room with the Grammys. Like, all right, we're going to do a Motown tribute. Like, we got Janelle Monáe, we got Beyonce, we got all these Black artists.
I think they were mad because a lot of artists turned down the Grammy performance. One, because
I was going to say that could have played a
part.
One,
One, because the Grammy don't always pick.
You talking about doing a Motown tribute? Like, how many people going to turn that down?
Yeah, but it's a lot of people that's just turning down the Grammys in general. Like, they don't want anything to
perform
do with it.
whatever,
Yeah.
just because that's coming out your money. Well, my thing is too. Why are we even looking for a Motown? Anytime we look for a tribute for a Black person, it's always the BET Awards have the best one. So why even look for that? You know
that Michael Jackson tribute was trash when he died.
I mean, it was art for the better. It was way better than whatever the Grammy should have been.
That was the one Chris Brown did, wasn't it?
No, they did. He came the year after because that year he beat up Rihanna.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because what? Because he had died in, was it August? And the BET Awards were.
Yeah, that was kind of rushed, but the next year they came back with Neo and Chris Brown. And Neo killed that.
Neo and Chris Brown, both.
No, Neo did the first year, and Chris Brown did the second year.
He did that. What's that song? Human Nature?
He did that was the first year.
Yeah, he did well. He
did well. I'm just saying the overall tribute was just kind of
well, that was because it was kind of rushing to fit in, but the next year.
I knew they had to hurry up and put something together.
Yeah. Anyway, back to business. Foot Locker, since they just, I'm telling you, they got their hands in everything this year. It's only February, but still. Foot Locker invest $100 million in the GOAT app.
Come third quarter, they gonna stop.
Right, like we spending too much money.
I can't wait to get into this one.
An article written by Kurt Badenhausen for Forbes. Foot Locker recently announced that they're putting $100 million of strategic investment. And I thought that's key right there, strategic investment, in GOAT Group, which operates secondary sneaker market brands GOAT and Flight Club. This is the largest investment in Foot Locker's history. CEO Richard Johnson said that the investment is, and to quote, to create a more seamless, frictionless experience for customers who want to partake in the secondary market. While GOAT Group does not release revenue or valuation information, as of 2018, the company was valued at roughly $250 million. But the investment from Foot Locker is the first from a strategic partner and ups GOAT's valuation to more than $550 million. Richard also says that GOAT will strengthen Foot Locker's digital capabilities. So
I just sent y'all a picture in a group chat. Check it out.
okay.
This is our problem I have with this. I had people I know, people I have friends who got fired from retail stores for reselling. And the purpose of that was Nike didn't want you doing that, and the company was at risk of losing their Nike account. And then the Foot Locker goes and invests $100 million in a resale company. So it's like,
So I should be able to get my job.
that's why I'm looking at it. Like, I'm looking at it. And Nike, you hate retailers so much. I mean, reselling so much, but your largest retailer just.
What the fuck is
Yeah, so that's what Foot Locker's going to do now. So you either pre-order it or you, like, that's the problem I have with it. So it's like, now y'all trying to turn the Ticketmaster, right? So
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to run like Live Nation. So how they should do it and how they probably will do it will be exactly how you just said, Ticketmaster, Live Nation. So when you go, you pull up an event, it'll say sold out, but it'll direct you to like StubHub,
But here's my thing,
which is the aftermarket. Which
to
is the
pay the aftermarket price.
Yeah, so you'll be able to do that right from like Foot Locker.
So my question for Nike is, how are you letting a retailer participate in the secondary market? When you have a Nike account, there's sneaker boutiques who got their Nike account snatched because of reselling and backdooring, but you let Foot Locker resell on their app and do pre-orders and all of that. Like, how is that cool? Though?
For example, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But the other part too is because you brought up an article a couple weeks ago that said that a lot of people that had shares in Foot Locker were upset about how much money was being being spent in the Nike products.
Yeah.
That they wanted other products to be spent. So this could just be one of those situations where maybe Nike might look at it and say, wait a minute, hold on. This is going to kind of like corner our own market share.
But most of the shoes on the secondary market are Nike. So
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I see them maybe trying to find a way to step in and say, wait a minute, hold up. You can't have a part of that. Or else we'll cut you off.
So I don't know where he got this from. Is this on Foot Locker right now?
No, this was one of the leaked pictures I offered to social media. Like, that's how they're going to do it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out where he got that picture from. But the picture that we are looking at right now, shout out to Sneaker Dave. He has a picture of, like, I guess he looked up a listing for the Nike Zoom LeBron 3. And it says on there, like, it shows you the retail price, which was $175, but then there's a pre-order price of $225, which is like, what, $50 more in the retail? And it says, important message, Platinum members may elect to have items shipped directly to GOAT warehouse.
Yep.
And what the
because so when you buy something off GOAT, what you could do is pay, and they'll store it. They'll hold it for you. So when you resell it, you don't got to go through the whole process of shipping it. So what I think they're going to end up doing will be, once you buy something right off a Foot Locker site,
you can just immediately
send it right to them.
You had an option to sell it immediately.
Yeah.
So this is a reseller's dream then.
Yeah. You take nothing in. You don't got to deal with printing labels, nothing.
What that could be doing though too is maybe that'll help Foot Locker kill the whole like we said before, when somebody buys something in bulk in the store and then they want to go and return it because they can't flip it. Well, now you got the option. As soon as you buy it, you just go. All those bots will just end up flipping it back on GOAT.
So here's my thing, though. So what you're doing is you're allowing the people you despise or the people you have an issue with, you're enabling them.
But at the same time, do they really have an issue with them? Because they put money in their pockets.
But this is where it is. When you fire people for doing this, but if you can make money off the same thing that people you fired doing it, okay, it's cool. Like, that's not it. And you stress how much Nike don't like resellers. Nike don't like this threat. And you got special Nike figures. Athletes should get their Nike contract back because they got fired for selling shoes early.
True.
And all that. I mean, they got their Nike account snatched and all that. So my thing is, if you're going to do this, then you might get these people back, because the one thing you despise, and we sat and talked with Nike people and people who listen to the show, who I called to and who spoke to me and said, yo, they are on people who backdooring. Benjamin Kitts got the shoe store in Florida, Nike account snatched from buying all them UNC ones and taping it. Like, but you enabling your largest retailer to do so? Then you can like, come on, man. Like, I seen our coworkers get fired over this or complaints over this, and then now it's cool now. because y'all can make a couple of dollars off of it. Like, that shit is weak, bro. That's how I look at it. And then that's from a retail standpoint, where's the fight at? Now the largest retailers now can flip and resell. It's like, oh, we can't beat them, so let's might as well just make money off of them.
That's all it looks like to me.
I'm like, man, this is
crazy. Like, let me get a piece of the market.
And what's the stop? This is my question though. Since now Foot Locker owns Go, what's the stop Foot Locker doing with the shoe? Like, okay, well, let's just say it's sold out.
Now, yep, and then
now it's on
extra.
Go.
Well, I was gonna say not only that, but
That's
Nothing
my point.
stopping
Like,
them from doing that.
oh, sold out is crazy.
I mean, like you say, like that's gonna play a huge factor into like the allocation.
Where the checks and
store
balances
allocations.
at. Yeah.
And it's going to drive resale prices up for some products. So that's
Well,
why
yeah, because there's gonna be less stuff you're gonna be able to get in the store.
that's
now.
why he was about to say that, but I was thinking, I'm like, they're gonna say, oh, shoes sold out, but here you can buy it right now for this price. And then this is a problem why Nike had a problem reselling. So Jordan's at cost is about $90, $93, right? If you sell it for about $95, Nike sells it to you for $93. So when you sell it for $190, you guys basically make the same off the money of the shoe. So by doing this, Foot Locker can make $125 with a shoe after buying the shoe from Nike for $93.
Yep.
So my thing is like, come on now, what's up with that?
There's no checks and balances. Like I promise you,
Money, like I said, the chase for money has destroyed the secondary market. Leave it. You don't see no resellers trying to open up a store at a retail level. They'll have a consignment shop to make shoes more accessible to cut down on shipping. But like, stop kind of everything was culture though. Like, it's like, oh, we need money. Let's get this money. Let's get this money. It's a money grab.
But I mean, that's how they do everything. And once they find out there's money to be made, here they come.
I would have respected this move more if Nike did it, so Nike can get rid of reselling. If you buy all the resellers and then shut it down, then you can, you know what I'm saying?
But that's why they went direct to consumer though. I thought that was kind of undermining that whole thing because now you get, I mean, think about how many shoes we find at the outlets now as opposed to like back in the day. Like a lot of these new releases end up at the community store or the outlet.
We're the only place with a community store.
I know. Can they just call it outlet? Like we could plan.
No, it's community store.
Yeah, so, but a lot of times they have it at the Nike store because when you buy something on Nike.com, you can return it at any Nike outlet or Nike store and get your money back. But this is how me and some of my friends used to run game, right? So they'll buy a shoe off Nike.com, say fake like you don't want it, right?
Yeah.
So bring Francis with me. I return the shoe and they put it up, right? Francis walking in 10 minutes. He go in there, oh, buy it. But since the shoe, even though I paid full price for it, but since the shoe is now officially in Nike outlet inventory, they have to mark it down. So I can return my LeBron 3 for $175. Then have Francis go in there and buy it with the 20% off because it has to be marked down because it's in the outlet. Yeah. And then so basically I can get my money back and then save some and still get the shoe. So that's why you find a lot of those newer releases at.
You know what that Nike community store is? It's like when you a janitor? No, I'm a waste technician. Like, dog, like. It's the same thing, like just a more fancy way of saying.
But those guys mean gyms as
left Twix and right Twix.
Yeah, like Guru said, there's not as many good as gems that you'd find in there.
They had those. What was the last time I was in?
I found a couple.
Weeks ago, they had what was that? The Mellow 13s.
It was still there.
No, they were gone by the time I got. It was like 2 pair left, and cats bought those up. Like dude was like looking like, oh man, I need these.
Wow. Oh yeah, the Black History Month joints are already in there.
I can imagine so.
Yeah. The whole collection. The whole collection is in there.
I was going to say, from the looks of it, I wouldn't be surprised if UNC 9s end up there too.
I wouldn't be surprised. They didn't sell like I thought they would.
Well, because everybody waiting for the 6s. That's all that is.
Yeah, that's real.
Like how you said tax return shoe. So
I'm telling you, I wanted to see what the
tax return 6s are nice.
Which ones?
The infrareds.
I went on and I just broke down and got them.
We know. Well, you didn't buy them. You didn't pay for them.
You have the sample without the 3M.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, my bank account.
The Nike shoes got the 3M on the back.
Wow.
No, they can't have 3M because of playing on the basketball court.
Yeah, because the sample.
So his doesn't have 3M.
You got Kawhi Leonard's pair. I forgot.
You got to get a regular pair too, so you get the 3M because that's what you really wanted was the 3M.
He's just gonna modify them.
Exactly.
You sure he's gonna do that?
Yeah. Caesar's Customs.
I'm just gonna take this as a compliment.
And he got and it says the Jordan X FCA on the inside.
No, Caesar, he gonna put 3M on the sole by accident.
Wow.
When are you getting when are you getting the ones with the red bars?
Like everything was going good until that. Like I was like, what?
Yep.
When are you getting those Supreme ones or whatever the hell they are with the red bar?
Them
Oh, he
couture
got
ones.
no, he got them profit sharing sixes. That's what he got. The profit sharing sixes.
That's what the four's gonna be.
Nah, that's what them Adapt BBs.
I'm surprised you don't already have those.
Nah, not yet.
Not yet. Yep. See.
He got the high top ones though. Got the wear test samples.
Wow. Shout out to Nightwing.
Got the ones right off of Jason Tatum's feet.
There are a number of collabs real quick before we get to Sheena. We got the Atmos Nike Air Max 2 Light. That's dropping next week. I mean, not this week. Next month.
quick.
I'm sorry. Yeah, next month. I don't know. I don't think I can get away with that. The size 15. The Panda Air Jordan 1 drops sometime this spring, summer. I know
What the hell is that?
Oh my goodness! That's you see what shoe was that like?
Yeah, can you put Googler?
Man, it looks like a Jordan we already had, but just different materials, the same color black. And what Jordan was that? That was black and white. We already had
The black and white one.
A Concord.
No. It was
No, it was
Jordan.
black and white ones, like the OG black and white ones.
Wait, that's all it looked like?
Yes, but with like Panda fur.
UNC ones, but with the blue is black. That's what. When they got like a funny material.
It's the black and white
Like
ones.
the black and
the OG black
this
and
has
white
got
ones.
it's got the black around the toe box.
Yes,
But it's the material on
but
it.
it's Panda fur, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes this is when you do too much.
No, Nike just do it. Honestly, at this point, I think they're doing.
But again, time out. You put all that effort
wow.
into an Air Force One, but I can't get a good Black History Month shoe.
look,
Air Force One.
you know what it is? Though? Honestly, I feel like Nike and Jordan Brand are just seeing what they can get away with at this point. They're like, all right, let's try this. Let's see if they'll bite on this.
Yeah, like that bullshit ass Travis Scott.
Whoa.
Sorry.
What?
That
You want a pair?
everybody went crazy, yo. That
We
sold
almost
out.
made a show without a bell.
My
Thank you,
bad.
Francis.
You're welcome.
Or Gino. I don't know which one to blame.
I didn't drop an F-bomb, so we good.
You said bullshit ass. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I didn't say
You're just upset because you didn't hit it.
But that was like a back-to-back consecutive curse word.
Yeah, so that counts.
double tech.
Yeah.
Double tech.
Double tech. So I got to get thrown out.
Yeah. Yeah, penalty box.
It's just
A soundproof
10
booth.
minute.
Soundproof booth inside the studio.
gingerly tap the bell for you.
We got a Citron. If
Fuck,
anybody's
it's
checking for
broken. Oh, there it
Reebok,
is.
there's a Citron Reebok Instapump Fury making its return later this year.
Just go on to the next show.
Undefeated. Undefeated has an Ultra Boost coming out this summer, and also a Nike Air Max collection this fall.
What,
Supreme-
Ultra Boost?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all white with the Undefeated logo on the insole over a basketball.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The Supreme. Supreme has
Supreme.
Supreme has a
The
Nike.
Supremes?
The Supremes. Yes.
With J-Lo?
The singing group.
Like J-Lo.
Yeah.
There's a Black History fact for all you hype beast kids. Supreme got its name from John Coltrane Love Supreme album cover. That's where they got the Supreme name from.
I was expecting more.
That's it. I'm about to go deep.
I thought he was like, because you was
No,
stopped.
but because I'm talking to hype beast kids, I can't give them too much. You got
That was a VH1 pop-up video reference. Like,
yeah.
anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Pop-up video.
Yeah.
The Supreme Nike Air Max Tailwind 4 is set to debut this summer. There's a women's version of the Gold Toe Air Jordan 1 dropping sometime this summer as well. Kendrick Lamar has his own Nike Element 55 coming out this fall. Skepta has a Nike Shox TL collab debuting this fall.
Why?
Shox, y'all can keep that.
Yeah.
When I worked at
I
Finish
know.
Line,
They keep
when I worked at
trying,
Finish
though.
Line, there was only one group
They're
of
gonna
people that
force
bought.
feed that shit out.
There was only one group of people who bought Nike Shox.
Yeah, the people that work at Adidas.
No. They were people. It was dudes who worked at the hospital. It was almost like the Shox.
Male nurses?
The
I was
Shox.
going to say it had to be a white shock, too.
It
All
was
white.
that. It was like for what Air Max 95s is, the black people are what Shox are to the Caucasian community. Like that's how it is.
You can say white. It's okay.
Caucasian.
Undercover.
White.
White.
Of all people to be politically correct, Guru.
Caucasian.
White.
You gotta say it like Stewie. White. Undercover has a Nike Daybreak collection coming out.
That's 7 sneakers.
Yes. There's a Nike Foam Positive Vapor hybrid tennis shoe dropping at some point this year for all the people that was asking for that.
Say that 5 times fast.
No. I couldn't say it one time.
Is it hybrid tennis shoe?
Concepts has a New Balance 997 debuting this year.
I feel like collabs, like it's like It's so many collabs. It doesn't even feel normal now.
It doesn't. I know it kind of feels.
It's like
Collabs are unique.
It feel forced now.
Yeah, we can't sell a regular shoe. Let's do a collab.
I think, but the designers should have an off season then of all these collabs.
I'm saying you would think. Real quick, I got it, man. Thoughts on the Game of Thrones Adidas Ultra Boost collection?
Weak.
Yes.
Yeah, very underwhelming. It's at 12 Oaks finish line. If you want to go get it, just let you know.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's there already?
They sitting there.
What? They released already?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's how underwhelming it is. Like I didn't even know they were
Trash. Like,
oh boy.
Like one of the managers there tried to show me. She was like, "Oh my god, these are so sweet." I'm like, it's pretty.
Because looking at the shoe, like
they're not cheap either.
Look at how much are they?
Over 200, right?
They're like over 200.
Oh, kiss my ass. All right, so like with
you wouldn't wear it anyway, though.
No, I wouldn't. But
I mean,
you would think
because they're
Plus,
not samples.
your sample has to be like a fire breathing dragon. You can't have no retail stuff. Man. That's a come with.
I need actual dragon scales on my shoe.
Yes,
but I'm just trying to.
Caesar got to get the shoe off the set.
Yeah,
you know what? God damn it! All right, so usually when I look at a collab, like I would like to see like the theme. Like you should be able to get. Like once you hear what this is, you should get the theme. I look at those shoes and they look basic as hell.
The only one that the one that I think probably fit the theme the best was the night swatch one.
Let me see it. Because it was black?
It's the material, so it's like thick fur.
Let me flip it over.
So it's like fur, like not fur. It's like it's a real thick, like kind of like the jackets that
could have been a Black History Month shoe.
Ooh, look at that! Like my Adidas ID.
I mean, like who's designing this stuff now? Like that's
Absolutely not.
You sell your Adidas ID.
I would have put a Ghana flag on the side. I would have put a
Game of Thrones.
I would have put a halo over the tongue. Yeah, everything's getting made black, bro. We was fighting dragons before they was. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's how it got to be. You know what I'm saying? What else has got to put on there? What else we got to put on there?
You gotta be the only pro black rabbi I know.
Ain't no rabbi, bro. Then they got coming like the silver packaging because you know African Americans made astronaut food.
You got the only black synagogue in Detroit.
So absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wish our money in our community was strong as theirs, but it's gonna get there one day. So, but yeah, I wish. I know you used to be at Oak Park. You see a lot of them dudes.
What was that in Oak Park? That was one store I was never at.
You know what I'm talking
You
about.
have to live in Detroit to know.
Yeah,
you have to live in Detroit.
No, you're right though. Because when I was at Northland, and I would go down the street. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, hey, man.
Nobody outside Detroit is gonna get what he just said.
Man, hey, Saturday afternoons. They all out.
Actually, man, where he get that new era hat from?
I actually wanted to.
I mean, he can't have his brim sitting too low.
When you mentioned the packaging, I wanted to bring this up to Gino. You seen that golf, the Air Max, the lawn one?
Yeah, they're coming at that lawn box.
Yeah. Do you see the special packaging for those two shoes?
I seen.
It's a trash. It's a trash truck. It's a garbage truck.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So you like that?
I think it's funny because you call everything trash.
So you know everything is ugly is trash unless it comes in a garbage truck. It's cool.
Yeah,
that's when it should be trash.
Oh, look at the packaging.
It's a garbage truck.
That's creative.
Wow, and they going for what?
No, I mean, again, do I think the shoe is sweet? No.
I no longer want to be on this planet. I swear, I'm starting my own species on another planet somewhere. We don't.
So they can make you samples. Santa Claus's sneakers.
Speaking of trash, well, I don't know. I guess depending on how you want to look at it.
Speaking of trash,
Vivo Barefoot is making shoes out of algae.
Out of what?
Algae.
What?
Out of like stuff it in the water?
Yeah.
Algae.
Algae.
That's why I showed some bell. I was gonna mention it. I know what you're talking about. I'm making sure the stuff that's in the water.
Hey, you made it sound real couture.
Algae. What did you call it?
There's an apostrophe over there.
Algae.
LGA.
Algae.
In an article written by Peter Very for Footwear News, Vivo Barefoot is setting out to be the leader.
So they got that at New York Fashion Week.
Yeah, in the eco-friendly footwear marketplace by introducing the new series called Vivo Bio. later this year. The shoes are made from plant-based polymers and mainly use algae, yellow field corn. To achieve this, Viva Barefoot partnered up with Bloom and DuPont, where they produce materials that are between 40 to 50% plant-based. The rest are petrochemical, the same way shoes are made today. So, yeah, if you are really into the earth right now.
That's crazy. So
it's a Croc.
No, well, yeah, I was gonna say, didn't Chinatown Market just do that with Crocs?
that's a shoe?
No, this is not this.
Oh.
Like chia
I'm about
Crocs.
to say, man.
I mean, that's rivaling that Air Max 1 golf shoe.
You got to
Air
water
Max
your
on
shoes.
golf shoes,
You got to
no.
put your shoes by the window and make sure it gets enough photosynthesis so it can
You gotta
grow.
spread those chia pet seeds on it.
Thought you was about to say something else.
Oh, what can I say? Get your head out the gutter, Gino. We're classy here. Al Guy.
We are a class.
That's what they teach you at Pep.
Al
Al
J.
Yeah, LJ.
Al J. It's French.
LJ.
You got to say with your pinky out.
LJ.
I guess we could touch on this too. Payless reportedly hires advisor to explore restructuring on company sale. An article written by Samantha McDonald for Footwear News. Footwear News getting a lot of love today. Less than 18 months after exiting bankruptcy, Payless has reportedly lined up an advisor to help mull over strategic alternatives, including a possible sale. Citing people familiar with the matter, Payless hired investment firm PJ Solomon as it continues to struggle amid digital disruption and seeks to avoid another bankruptcy. How many bankruptcies can you go in like a year?
Ask Donald Trump.
You had that one. He had that bullet in the chamber. I can't even finish the question. That's Donald Trump. Payless is reportedly considering restructuring or a sale, along with closing the doors of at least a third of its 3,000 stores across the country. But the sources did note that Payless hasn't ruled out filing for bankruptcy for a second time.
I feel like eBay's, taking off to another level, and then Amazon, that's kind of phased them out a little bit.
What Payless?
Yeah. It was a point in time where
People like cheap
were-
shoes on the fly, right?
Nah, but people will wear something they can't afford over staying within their means. Payless thrive when people stay inside their means for the most part, but when now everybody's chasing a certain image and look.
Man, I ain't even thought of that angle. I wonder honestly, that's a very interesting angle. I never thought of it that way. Social media has people living life.
But then at the same time,
And also too, Nike is so much stuff at the outlet. You could darn near get a Nike shoe at the outlet for the same price as a Payless shoe.
but then that's on the
Because the Payless got $50 to $60 shoes.
but that's on the
What you getting at the
designers.
Nike outlet?
That's on the designers that make the shoes that Payless sells for them to be able to make something that looks,
Well, they're a price margin store, so that's what they thrive at.
true. But I mean, that's the same as like who was that the Balenciaga slip on that everybody seemed to have been mocking. I seen like a Steve Madden version of it. I seen one at Target.
Balenciaga slip one.
But don't we laugh at
The one
that
the
when
sock
they
one.
the
when they
runner.
obviously try to mimic another design?
I mean, we do, but then at the same time, who would say somebody that doesn't want to feel as if they have that shoe that will go below
I think
their
that's even
means?
worse. I mean, I don't know. I think
But
that's
bullying is at an all-time high now. So
True.
Air
kids can't even stomach wearing something like that.
Oh, kids are so soft.
Oh, who says it's for kids?
Oh, I
I've
mean,
seen-
adults too. They get.
I was gonna
flamed,
say,
too.
I've seen adults
You
put
said adults get flamed?
Social media. I mean, sometimes I've seen somebody singing, clowning somebody's shoes on the gram, bro. Like,
I mean, yeah,
Do
but
you
I
do
mean,
some of
you
it?
can get on
What?
Instagram.
Are you part of that?
part of what?
You know he is.
Flaming somebody's shoes? No, I don't
Yeah,
flame
yes.
nobody's shoes.
Oh, speaking of which,
JB's
I
at the
don't flame
basketball
nobody's
game.
shoes, bro.
Oh, is it?
We work together. Whose shoes I flame?
Them women that would come in with them stank.
Because they're women, Gino.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
False.
We both flame people's shoes before,
What? We clowned our coworkers, but not no customers who came in there like. We hope your shoes are made so we can sell you some new ones.
bro. Which is why we clowned them.
No, yeah, I ain't clown. You
interest.
clowned them. I didn't clown
I
nobody.
clowned everybody.
Guru clowns a lot of people. I
Nah.
probably just don't remember.
I don't.
But speaking of which, you got your own podcast now, don't you?
Yeah.
What's the name of
The
it?
Half and Half podcast.
The LeBron and
Sports
Jay-Z
Entertainment.
The
Glad you guys on there. Don't worry.
Rock Nation Hour.
We're gonna do one. Me and Francis sports versus wrestling.
Wrestling is a sport.
No, it's not. The scripted can't be.
Wow.
So they're not athletes?
No, they're not athletes.
Wow.
They're people who work out at the gym who slap each other with oil.
Sounds like athletes to me.
No, they're not. So the dude for the powerhouse just got in the ring and it's scripted. That's the only thing. Like, if it was real.
Have you ever been inside a wrestling ring?
No, it takes some athletic.
Just walking around it, I
was gonna
fucking
say,
almost
you know,
had an
Some of the
asthma
most
attack.
famous wrestlers were overweight, though. Like, my favorite wrestlers were over, like, Mankind and all them dudes.
But you know, most of those wrestlers have like an athletic background.
Not Mankind. I'm just gonna go ahead and
No, I mean, he was just jumping off the
Really though, he was known for taking punishment, but
But it's entertaining. I would definitely say
Pause.
it's entertaining.
Said pause.
but they're athletes.
Oh wow,
Nah.
for the most part,
walk around and
you can't just point to Mankind and say, okay, he's not.
Right, I was gonna say,
right.
give me another. That was your only favorite.
Right,
wrestler?
that was it.
Kane was a little overweight. He was just big.
Who?
Kane was a little overweight.
Kane is like 9 feet tall.
I know.
Exactly.
Hold up.
He was a little
Hold up.
overweight.
I'm actually
said Kane
hold up.
was
I'm actually shocked by this.
So I feel like the people
You
who were in
named two white
shape was
wrestlers.
Triple H.
What, you never had
The
a favorite
Rock,
black wrestler?
Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold.
The Rock played football. What are you talking?
No, so these are people who I feel like
Oh.
were in shape. These
Oh.
are people who feel like we're in shape wrestlers.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels. Who else?
Hulk Hogan.
Owen Hart.
Hulk Hogan wasn't in shape. He was just pumping steroids.
It's a different time, you know.
Exactly. So almost every sport, steroids are illegal except wrestling. So it's not a sport.
It is illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal in wrestling now.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, now it is illegal.
They get suspended for that.
Yeah, it's been illegal for a while.
China was in pretty good shape. Rest in peace to China. Who else? Most of them
The
was in
one
shape.
woman he will respect on the show.
You sound crazy. You sound crazy. Mr. Steal Your Girl. I know you ain't talking about this.
Oh, me?
He laughed,
Oh,
didn't
come on,
Claudia?
man. Come on, man.
You're like, yeah, let me timestamp that one.
Man, cut it out. But any other wrestlers you want to name from like the 80s and 90s?
That's when I started watching that. From like 2001 on up, like once I found out it was fake, I stopped watching.
Wait.
When I was like in eighth, ninth, about 8th grade.
I mean, I'm not gonna front like at that time, like that 2001.
Yeah.
That's when it was over with.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
it was just a wrap.
Wow.
A lot of the female wrestlers now are like real athletes.
Jesus. All right. On that note, hello.
Sheena's on the line. Hi, it's Sheena.
Hey, Sheena. Hey, for all of our listeners who are like, what? This is Sheena Butler-Young, writer, multimedia journalist, and business editor for Footwear News. It is an honor to have you on the show because we read so many of your articles. Between you and Peter Very at Footwear News, yeah, you probably get at least 40-50% of our news from you guys.
Oh, well, that's awesome. And I'll share that news with Peter. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that.
Most definitely. So in doing the show, and reading your articles and whatnot, you know, I've taken an interest and followed both you and Peter. And I saw one of the posts and it made me think about it. I guess it ties into what's going on now with the discussion about, like the Black History Month collections between Adidas and Nike. And then you had, we kind of laughed about it, but just the representation of Motown last night, just Black culture or just people of color being represented in general. It took me back to, was that last year, the 40 under 40, people in the footwear industry. And the list was predominantly, white. And I believe you and some people had a discussion about it afterward.
Sure. Yeah. So, I think 40 under 40 for us, wow. It was a learning moment. I think that we came at it from a few different directions. And I'll tell you kind of what we learned. So what we set out to do was to highlight or identify 40 people in the shoe industry. And that encompasses athletics, that encompasses, luxury, high fashion, women, comfort, a ton of different parts of the business. We set out to identify 40 executives under the age of 40, right?
Right.
And the list came out and people immediately identified that there were no people of color. I think there maybe have been one or two people that were maybe Asian or something else. And we saw two things. We said, we've long known that the industry itself is not diverse.
Right.
But given this feedback, we realized that we now have to do a better job of finding the diversity that does exist. So that was kind of the big teachable moment for us. was, yeah, there are, people of color in the industry. Why didn't we think of them? And there was also, speaking from as a journalist, what I learned personally was kind of, it taught me things about our profession, the way that we research for sources, and the kind of the flaws in that, and sometimes just also how feedback can happen. Like a lot of people sent us suggestions. We looked into them, and most of them weren't under 40.
Right.
There's all these little funny things that happen. It was like we were so concerned about the feedback, and we started digging, and people sent these leads, and there was articles out there. And then we look into the people, and most of them I think did not actually meet the criteria.
Right.
So I think somewhere in the social media-driven universe, people can kind of get excited about a headline or idea, and this diversity is an important subject, so people rightfully get excited and upset, and I think those are all healthy things. But sometimes maybe the accuracy gets lost in that. I think the other thing that we realized is that people were really focused on the athletic industry, and that wasn't the focus of the list.
Right.
So I think there's like all these different things. The idea of the feedback, 100% correct. We own that the list wasn't diverse, 100% correct. Those are the other little things that I mentioned, things that I kind of learned as a personally as a journalist about kind of accepting feedback, apologizing where you make a mistake, but also realizing the world we now operate with, that people react off sound bites, they react off headlines, and sometimes the feedback, finding the areas that are not necessarily, as valid maybe.
Right. See, now
but I think the conversation is great that we're having because of it, and and it's forced us to really think about diversity in everything we do. And so I think that that's important. If you've noticed this month, since I've been there, been at Footwear, which is 4 years. We started Black History Month Spotlight before 40 under 40.
Right.
We did articles about diversity before 40 under 40. I think we missed the mark in seeing that project as something that should have diversity focus, but we learned,
right, to
lead with that a little more.
Now, see, that leads me to two different questions that I didn't have initially. And one,
sure.
Because looking back at the list, I remember my initial reaction, which was like, yo, what the hell? Like, where the black people at? But, I think looking back at it, more, you guys were just reflecting the industry as it was, right? You're just reporting the news as it was. And I feel like the onus falls on the brands to hire the people of color, because if they don't have them in those positions, then how can you report the news in a credible way that reflects what's going on? So, and that leads me to my second question, and you kind of pointed to it as far as like the highlights or the headlines and how people read those and not necessarily read the full article, is do you find yourself as a journalist trying to write a story in a way that people can digest it? Like, are you conscious of how people read nowadays, that they don't read the full article? So now you have to like kind of change how you would normally write it so that it's palatable to them?
Oh, 100%. To an extent. I mean, when I was in undergrad and I first took like journalism 101, I don't know if your viewers know, I don't know how much people work in the journalism space, but you wrote in the inverted pyramid where you put everything at the top, like that's most important. And as you go through the story, you put the lesser important information up towards the bottom. So I've always tried to write that way. I think understanding how social media works and how people read headlines and try to find quick sound bites does drive kind of how I tell the story, like tone, what I would call out now that I may not have, 5 years ago. I think that's real. I think, the way that I came up with a read, just language and tone and the thing that's interesting does change. Like I'll give you an example. I attended a retail influencer network panel, and there was like all these speakers, and they were all talking about marketing and micro influencers and macro influencers and how you sell a brand in the current climate. And then someone just said, Kim Kardashian and the Jenners are not a marketable marketing. Like they're not a viable marketing strategy. That's not going to take your brand to the next level. Like, see, that's my headline.
Right.
5 years ago, I would have probably, my headline would have been, retailers convene a panel on marketing. because you weren't really worried about people clicking into something. It's like if they picked up your newspaper, they already value what you say,
right?
Or your magazine, and they're gonna read it. Now we have to think about that thing. It's not clickbait, but that thing that will make them interested in reading the rest of what you have to say.
No,
if that makes sense.
No, I definitely
and putting it in a digestible way really early.
How you doing? This is Guru. My question is, one of the people I felt that should have been on the list last year that wasn't was Virgil, and he was at the time 37, and the collaboration he did with Nike, which took off fast, and his other previous work with his own brand with Off-White. Was there a particular reason he wasn't on there?
I'm sorry, was that a viewer question or listener question?
Yeah, I was just saying, is there a particular reason why Virgil wasn't on the list since he was 37? The collaboration he had with Nike
was a designer list. So there was a list, and I don't want to make. We kind of tried to learn from 40 and the 40 and move forward. But I'm happy to address questions, but I don't want to. I'm not the person that can address every single thing about everything that goes in the issue. But with Virgil, he was a designer, and the list was an executive list. So again, these are a few little nuances that, I think the important thing was to learn and not to seem defensive and not to, as a publication, break down every single thing that people said and try to defend it. But that was another thing, since we're talking about it, that came out that we had to, that we never really said because there was no platform to go back and forth about, here's what you guys should understand. We just wanted to fix what people were concerned about and make a meaningful decision to call out and celebrate diversity in our publication. But with Virgil, he was a designer and he did make the designer list. So that was another thing that people did not know. So FN is a trade magazine. So it goes out to subscribers, right?
Right.
So if you subscribe, you get it every Monday in the mail. People saw one portion of, so when we put that on Monday, we'll take things from the magazine and put them on our website. And the cadence or the rhythm at which we roll them out is just depending on kind of what's going on that day. Or, if we think if we have two lists going out, we don't want to put them out back to back because maybe we won't get the same amount of traffic because people can't focus on both at the same time. Like all those kind of editorial decisions. Right. So we had two lists. We had a list of designers, we had a list of executives, and those are people in the C-suite. Those are, top leaders and, like marketing executives and those kinds of things. So the designers were considered a separate thing, and we had that list, and Virgil was on it.
Right. Now,
so that was a lot of it was misunderstanding, but the bigger lesson that we learned and we're happy to have learned is that, diversity is our readers and the public at large want us to push harder to get to find diverse sources, to celebrate diverse talent and that kind of thing, and we're doing that. But there was some misunderstandings, I think.
Right.
But I'm happy to clarify, but don't want to.
Right. No, we get it.
Litigate the past.
Right. But so like you said though, like Footwear News, like. Cause like we have blogs, like we have like Nice Kicks that are specific to like sneakers, but Footwear News, you guys cover the industry as a whole. And I think sometimes we forget how niche, sneaker culture can be. But even while saying that, like what has stood out or surprised you about sneaker culture in the last few years or the sneaker industry?
Gosh, what has surprised me? There's so much that's happened. I don't know anything. It's super surprising. I think it's really interesting, the resale market. Mm-hmm. And this is more of, so Peter is our athletic editor, like you said, you follow him. This is more of his beat and his strong suit, but I think that's just this interesting phenomenon how, sneaker can be $250 and then on the resale market, I mean, I think we've seen figures like 20,000. There's these insane markups on resale. I think that's really interesting. I think the crop of smaller independent brands that are having these big cult-like followings is interesting. When I came of age, it was like if you weren't wearing Nike, I think one time there was a K-Swiss. I'm dating myself here, but there was Nike. There was a moment where K-Swiss was the thing. There was Fila. I remember all these brands, but they were bigger to me. And now we have all these, Allbirds, or I think there's a number of them that Peter covered that are just small, but people are just so ATL that they just are building their own lanes. I think that's really interesting and cool. I think a lot of that's driven by Gen Z, which is, I think they're 19 and under, something like that generation that really want product that makes them feel individual.
Right.
And they don't want the big mass-produced things. Or if they do, they still like Nike. Nike still ranks, I think, highest. Piper Jaffray does that study, and they're always the top, but they want things that they can customize. It still feels like their own spin on something that's popular. Whereas when we were growing up, it was like, oh, we're all wearing this Nike sneaker.
Right.
And that made you popular. Now it's wearing something that your friends don't have. That makes you a little more popular, or at least if it's the popular brand, but you put a spin on it.
Yeah, no,
I think those are interesting things that I know from where I sit. Again, I'm not the athletic editor, but those are kind of the things that stand out to me.
No, that's an interesting perspective.
What have you seen? What do you think is new and interesting?
You kind of mentioned it, like just the overall like hype of things, like how like shoes. There was always hype, right? Like, cause I remember articles even when I was a kid, people were killing each other over shoes, right? But it was still, I remember as a kid, like getting like looked at differently or even laughed at. Like, oh, you buy sneakers all the time and you always selling the sneakers. And like now, I have some of those same people like, hey, can you get me those Jordan so-and-sos? Like, and it's like, it is just like a weird dynamic, like this weird juxtaposition between what used to be and what is. And, like it just seemed like it's gotten crazier. Like I'm almost waiting for the bubble to pop. Like I remember talking to like people that I know in real estate and how they are talking about how just the house market was just crazy before like 2008. Then it just popped, right? And I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a thing. Like, I wonder if this sneaker bubble is going to pop or is this the norm going forward? But
I don't know. It seems like it's becoming the norm. Like it's not really. Hey, I don't know. That's an interesting point. Maybe there is such a thing. Maybe at one point it's just if it's too red hot, what goes up has to come down.
Right. And
but I'm not sure. It seems like by all accounts it's just up. It's gonna stabilize, but if something rises so astronomically and then stabilizes at that level, it's probably still pretty solid, right?
I agree.
Even if at some point it might stop growing, but it doesn't mean that it's not, it's going to stay. That means it stopped growing, but it's staying really relevant. That's possible, I would say.
I would have to agree with that. Speaking on a more broader term, and I just read, I don't know if you wrote this or somebody else wrote it, but it was just talking about how, people talked about how online shopping killed retail, or like at least the brick and mortar. But like, it's funny how like Amazon and online marketplaces like that are now trying to get to brick and mortar. Like, what do you think online? I know it's impacted brick and mortar, but do you think it's killed it for good, or do you think people just have to find a different way in which to engage customers?
I don't think brick and mortar is dead. I don't think that. I think that I don't think that online has killed brick and mortar. What has happened is a few things. So a lot of the traditional players that did not evolve their businesses fast enough kind of fell victim to that growth of online, especially the pure plays like Amazon and eBay.
Right.
What I think has happened as far as brick and mortar is concerned is its role in our society and culture has changed. In a lot of ways, it's not the first place you go to buy something, but you're still going there. So I think that another thing that I've covered a lot that people may or may not know is so a lot of the companies that went bankrupt, so there's a few of them, Payless,
Right.
Toys R Us, which is not in our space, but there's a common denominator for a lot of them, and Nine West was another one. I'm trying to think. There's a list. I have a going list on my desk of all these companies that went bankrupt, and it was actually that they did. I don't know if you're familiar with. It's really finance heavy, but they did a private equity buyout. Like these companies had issues years ago, and they got private investors that came in and tried to help them by doing a leveraged buyout. So what that did was that gave a lot of these brick and mortar traditional brands and players a lot of debt. And so right at the time that Amazon and digital and all that stuff got really, really big and important, those companies were so like loaded with debt that they didn't have the resources to fight back. So it's kind of this complicated thing where you think it's digital, but if those companies were more financially sound, they might have been able to more readily fight what was happening. So the ones that did fight and did survive probably had financial resources. So it's not impossible. That was just one big factor for a good chunk of companies that went away. When I think about it, we were reported a lot on, or that I did report a lot on. And then I think that overall companies have to continue to evolve, to remain relevant, and find new ways to speak to their customers, because the role of the store is different. It's now an experience. Right. What are you offering someone that they can't get online? Because if it's just product, they're going to Amazon. Why am I coming to your store for the same thing I can order? And that's kind of the idea. But again, in some of us, I personally am not the Amazon shopper, not always online. I'm old school that way, but I think I'm speaking in general about the American consumer and where they're at. So I think that's what's happening, if that makes sense.
Right. No, it makes sense. I saw that you recently did an interview with Kevin Plank from Under Armour, CEO of Under Armour.
Yes.
They man, I feel like you could point out a lot more things that have been wrong than right with them as of late. Like, what was that interview like?
I have I posted about this on my social media, if I can say this. I gained a lot of new respect for Kevin. Not that I didn't have it going in. I mean, I didn't really know him, but just his willingness to sit down and have a conversation about diversity, and to listen to feedback and what's happening in the industry, and be willing to discuss it as a leader, I think is a big deal. I think it's commendable. It was a good interview. I don't know if there's anything sensational that I can add. I tried to put it all out there in the story.
Right.
Well,
no,
I think that I don't know what is there something pointed that you want to ask about the conversation that we had, or about what was in the story?
No, I mean, I guess what you kind of addressed it, because I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Like, I saw you post about it, and I saw the article, and it's in my things to read. But I just wanted to know, like, what was like the tone of it, because like you say, a lot of people will circle the wagons and be defensive, and talk in circles and get their points out without really addressing the issue. And I just wanted to know how open he was to the issues they've been plagued with, and was he receptive? Oh, like, how was was he really open to? Did he seem, I guess, contrite in, I guess, what's been wrong there, and I guess, did he give any answers as far as how they would address it going forward?
Yeah, so he was open to we as any interview that I've done, I did a lot of research, and I went to Baltimore and sat down, and I had my list of questions and the things that I had heard from sources, the things that were in the news about the brand, and we went down that list one by one, and he addressed each thing. As far as diversity is concerned, he said that that's a huge priority for the brand going forward, but he expressed concern about the fact that there was a murmur or chatter out there that the brand was not diverse enough, that perhaps people of color and women may have said that they didn't feel like they had equal opportunity, or I want to be careful of how I said it, how they said it, but the idea was that I may not have had as much opportunity as others because I'm a minority. So if you go on Glassdoor, like, a lot of that stuff has been reported that people have said. I will say it's not indifferent to a lot of what you might read about working for companies and brands in America as a minority, like the microaggressions that people talk about, those sort of things. So that's why I started by saying I commended Kevin for sitting down and listening to it and going on the record and talking about it, because many brands and corporations in this country have that kind of feedback, and no one wants to sit down and talk about it. Right. And say, hey, how do we address it? Like, maybe, maybe we missed the mark. It's like, us with 40 and the 40. Sometimes things are not intentional, but if someone's bringing it to your front door, you should want to fix it.
No,
and in our conversation, Kevin, he said he wants to figure out how to, to be pretty much, a leader in the industry as far as promoting diversity and doing, the good work. And I will point out also, they have comparatively speaking, pretty decent diversity numbers at Under Armour. I think it's kind of putting the initiatives in place to making sure that people of all backgrounds feel welcome, feel their feedback can be heard, and having programs, and making sure those programs are effective. Because any mega corporation right now has some diversity initiative, but is it working? I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's all these, like, Black people at XYZ company, Latinos at XYZ company. They make all these little micro groups of corporations to make people feel welcome, but we don't know if they're working.
No, that's
They're having this fluid conversation about what's working, what's not, and making it better. And he said he wants to do that. So
yeah, they just recently hired. I don't want to butcher her first name. Her last name was Rocker.
Canavia.
Yes.
Canavia Rocker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so,
and she's replacing an African American woman at Under Armour, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So the person that held that role, so Under Armour's human resources officer, was an African American woman. She left for another role, she's doing the same thing but at a different kind of company,
right.
An entertainment and some creative arts agency or something. And they replaced her with Canadian, who also happens to be African American and a woman, but they renamed the roles. It's not Chief Human Resources Officer. It's like
right.
Chief People and Culture Officer, but it's the same role. It's essentially the same position, but retitled. And I think they're trying to make a bigger push around emphasizing their focus and appreciation of people and the culture of the company.
But speaking of women of color,
mm-hmm.
You are one yourself, and what advice would you give to any woman or even a male, for that instance? What advice would you give them based on your career and experience if they were looking to get into journalism?
Guys, I don't know if it's much. I'll start with just general advice about getting into journalism, and then I'll zero in on the minority component. I think journalism has a high barrier of entry if you want to work for a big brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which initially was my goal. And I think because I'm coming from that perspective, and I can say that you have to stick with it. If there's something inside of you that says that that's the field you want to be in, know that you're going to probably hear a lot of no's before you hear a yes. Now, that's a little cliche. A lot of people say that, but it's so true. And I had a lot of no's. I had a lot of, other barriers. Like, I'm not African American. I'm from the Caribbean. So I came here and I had, to decide if I was going to go back home or stay or keep seeking opportunities. And that was tough for me. So I think that I always having that, even deep down, this is what the industry that I want to work in, drove me to keep trying. When a lot of my peers, most of my peers, unfortunately, ended up pursuing something else. Wow. Almost like the majority of my peers, because it's that hard. It was that hard to get in. Now there's blogging, there's all this stuff you can do. There are people individuals that start their own blogs that have more followers and more readers than mainstream brands. So I think there are more barriers to entry, and if you're passionate enough, you can also pursue those. So I think that's the big part for all journalists is to keep trying, keep your passion, and I think what's the pointed thing? I hate when people tell me that then they don't give me a specific steps. I'm trying to think of a specific step.
No, you ain't got to think of no specific. Just
I just stick with it, reach for the stars, and I'm like, well, what do I do with that after I leave the conversation? I think internships and connections and networking and all that stuff is really important. And for me, it's also making sure that you actually have a talent, like a real thing. Can you write? Don't just want to be on TV or want to have can you write? Can you interview people and find a story? Can you sit down and have a conversation with a source and get the story out of them? Figure out all those things before you really lock down on this career path. And then for minorities, or for women of color, men of color, gosh, I don't know what I would say specifically to my people, right? I think it's just staying strong in your convictions, being open-minded. Something I learned just in my career and in dealing with diversity issues is find teachable moments and find allies. The biggest thing about, microaggressions to me and dealing with, like, what's the word for it? Like, subconscious racial biases is getting angry and then staying there. Like taking up residence on, I say, like you put your tent on anger lane, just live there, and you don't actually put action behind the anger.
Right.
It's not healthy for you, and it doesn't really affect the change that I think you want. So I think, identify allies at your company if you do break in, or if you're trying to break in, network with people that really have your best interest at heart, and that you can. And if they're open to having a conversation to get better, welcome that. Don't just think you have to be angry. If someone makes a mistake or is not racially sensitive to you for whatever reason, but they are willing to acknowledge it and work on it, I think you should work on it. It doesn't benefit any of us to have a bunch of people that are angry and have racial biases if we can kind of work together to affect change.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, that definitely makes sense. All right, last question.
Yeah, those are kind of my things. I was kind of waxing poetically, but those are my things.
Last question. What would it take for us to be presenters at the next Footwear News Awards?
I will route your request to the powers that be.
Okay. Just put in a good word for us.
Yeah, I'll put in a good word. No, I mean, I definitely, so the awards, we obviously start planning a year out, and we're really making a concerted and aggressive effort around really championing diversity in the footwear industry as well as in media, and really being, voices for that and seeking it out. We really took the 40 under 40 feedback to heart. I want to emphasize we always try to do it a little bit before, but this was kind of a big wake-up call. Like, people want to see us do more than that. They are taking us to task because it's important to them, and we need to do a better job. And we heard you, and we're listening. And if you've looked back over the past year, we've done a lot in that lane, and we're continuing to do more of it. So stay tuned. We have some exciting things coming down the pike with diversity as a focus.
Looking forward to it. Definitely thank you for coming on the show today and giving us your time. I know you are a busy woman. We're going to try to get Peter on here one day.
I'll put in a word for Peter.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
He might just be a little busier than me.
But thank you for joining us on the show, and we will keep in touch.
All right, take care.
All right, stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Once again, that was Sheena Butler-Young, multimedia journalist, writer, and editor for Footwear News. I don't know. For me, like, that's the second half. I think so many people see the front side of like sneakers. They see like go in store and buy, but they don't know the things that go on behind the scenes. And that's one of the things I've personally been trying to get focused on is, the industry itself, and not, YouTube, like, grand scheme of things, YouTubers don't mean nothing. Like, that ain't, they don't influence anything.
You're a YouTuber, though.
Huh?
You're a YouTuber.
I ain't been on YouTube in years.
But you're still on there, though.
Where?
Yeah, you're on there. And
we on there, but like, I wouldn't classify myself as a YouTuber.
Man, we got like
I got like 10 videos on YouTube. Like,
he's just an influencer. Like 200,000 views total, bro.
Huh?
The videos we did together had like 200,000 views total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not one to brag on myself, but
you YouTuber.
There you go. He about to pull his plaque out next.
my wood plaque of 20,000 views.
It's probably next to your some of your sample Jordans.
Speaking of samples,
welcome to Caesar's Closet.
Yes, release dates. Brought to you by Sneaker Bar Detroit, the #1 source of sneaker news and release dates.
All right, flip through the
Kind of done
pages.
it. I know, right? I'm trying to find it. Of course, it's the last page. Friday, February 15th, you have the Air Jordan Retro 1 High OG Turbo Green. You have the Air Jordan 11 Low Golf Concord for all the high beast golfers out there.
What?
This is the shoe that I am trying to get.
That
The
Concord
golf
golf,
shoe.
the golf Concord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concord?
Yeah, it's sweet. If you golf.
No, not at all. Putt-putt.
Huh.
You know, we should all buy a pair and go putt-putt and just like make fun of it, have a caddy and everything.
Hey, use your profit sharing to get my pair. You got me right.
Ooh, I'm telling you, if I hear one more person, oh my God, every year I know this family member, this friend is going to call me asking me to borrow something.
They be waiting on that date more than you do.
Man, I'm done. I hate when they announce it because it's like, God damn it, now everybody knows, right? Black Sheep, special edition Nike SB Dunk High Black Hornet. That is my must-get shoe. I have to get that shoe.
Why?
That shit was dope.
SBs are back, even for Caesar.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, come on now. Cut it out. Cut it out. That shoe dope, though.
That hype beast.
That shoe was nice.
You see, he said he's a hype beast.
Y'all can cut it off.
He don't have no general releases in his collection.
Exactly. You don't even live by your own quotes.
What?
You don't even live by your own quotes. Shout out to Soul Science too.
Dog,
You
I
don't
just
live by
got the
your own
Ladine
quotes.
Way Ways. Who was going for those?
That's the
That's a
Dwayne
general
Wade
release?
pair, size 15, bro. It's Dwayne Wade's pair.
That's a
my
general
God.
release.
Oh my
What
God!
Foot Locker?
Yes. And I got it like
what
months
Foot
after the
Locker-
fact.
What Foot Locker in Michigan did that come out in?
They don't even come on in Foot Locker. You have to get them on the
You gotta go to their Way
edition
Away
book.
website.
Oh
It
yeah,
ain't- and it ain't a general release.
yeah, and that's not even from this.
It's a general
country.
release for them.
No,
Don't
it's
even
not.
try, bro.
And nobody who's checking for them. Like really,
even
like
try.
honestly, like
Bro, you
That's
got the one-
why it's not a general release, because ain't nobody checking
Oh, my
for it.
God.
Everybody, all the NBA players who play against Dwayne Wade get his jersey. You get his shoes, bro. So I mean,
Okay, yes, I got a sign on.
You got his socks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
that's why you like
man.
Miami so much. That matters now. You
I
friends
don't
with
even
Dwayne
like
Wade.
Miami that much.
But you did Kip's Treats and all that. You did.
That's
like
the only
Miami.
reason I want to go to Miami.
No, you like the Miami. The Miami store, New York store was dope. We had fun in Miami.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was probably the second best.
Wait, hold on.
Yes,
Atlanta's always good.
that was said the second best. That's why I said Atlanta first. So Miami.
What
was
about
the
Bay
second
Area?
best.
Bay Area, I thought that was the best one.
Bay Area. I feel like we did more.
We just
did that
alienated
one-
half the show. But just by the way,
Oakland. We just went to the pier. That was it. We did. yes, that's all we did.
Yeah, that's true. We had like extra day in Miami too, though. So, what else is coming on Friday? Oh, the Nike PG3 All Star, the Nike Zoom Kobe 4 Protro Draft Day, the Nike Little Plaza 1 Hornets, the Nike React Element 87 Royal Tint, and the Under Armour Curry 6 High Vis Yellow. If you're asking what it looks like, I guarantee your mind has already came up with a colorway, and it is exactly what you think it is.
Tennis ball.
Yep. Saturday, February 16th, you have the Air Jordan Retro 6 OG Black Infrared. You have the Rocket Special Edition Nike Kyrie 5. You have the Nike Air Max 98, Black Neon Pink, Neon Green, and Neon Yellow. Adidas Next Level Shock Red. The Adidas Consortium FYW S97 OG. What? You have the Don C Special Edition Converse ERX 260 Jewel. And you also have the Soloist Special Edition Converse ERX 260 High. Both shoes ain't bad. They're not too bad. Sunday, February 17th, you have the Jordan Why Not 0.2 All-Star, the Nike LeBron 16 Watch the Throne. Those are dope. Of course, you got the much anticipated Nike Adapt BB. And then for everybody else, the Nike Armour Uptempo 720 Triple Black Quick Strike. Wednesday, February 20th, you have the Nike Air Force One Utility Black History Month. Thursday, February 21st, you have the Social Status Air Jordan Retro 6, I'm sorry. That is the wider release available on the Sneakers app. I guess they're coming out before that in store, but they'll be on the Sneakers app on the 21st. You have the Nike ACG Wildwood Black Electric Green Hyperviolet, the Nike Air Max 720 Sunrise. That is a Nike Plus exclusive. The Nike Air Max 720 Sunset. That's the women's pair. That is also a Nike Plus exclusive. And then you have two Nike.com exclusives. The Nike Metcon 4XD. They come in black gum and white gum. And then you have the Adidas Ultra Boost 2019 Clear Brown. Friday, February 22nd, you have the Nike Air Max 95 White Midnight Navy, Laser Orange, and Pure Platinum. You have the Nike Women's Air Max 720, My bad, 270, Summit White, Midnight Navy, and Laser Fuchsia. For whatever reason, they're coming back out with a Nike Zoom Rookie Galaxy. Those might be the most uncomfortable shoes in history. You have the Air Jordan Retro 4 Silk Red, and you have the Commonwealth Special Edition Adidas Consortium ZX 500 RM. And then finally, Saturday, February 23rd, you have the Scuderia Ferrari Special Edition Puma Cell Venom Pack, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 700 Salt, and then you have that Jordan, I think we mentioned earlier, the Air Jordan Retro 1 High OG Defiant. That's that Cyber Monday Jordan 1 with a painted stripe on the just across the shoe. No, nothing dope about that.
Fire.
No.
Lit.
Need to
Fuego.
Need to be
It
lit on
need to
fire.
be set on fire, I was going to say.
Where Jumpman's Grill at?
I know.
He probably gonna get a pair though.
Ooh.
That was dope.
I don't know. Like I said, I just think Jordan Brand is just like, all right, what can we get away with? Can we just throw a piece of paint on there and just go?
I can't wait to overpay for those on footlocker.com.
You're right. Yeah. Yes. I want. When is that supposed to go into action? By the way,
And then sell them back to GOAT.
And send them directly to GOAT so they can store them. So when I resell them, I don't have to bother shipping them.
So Foot Locker is going to be his own bot, basically. Like he's going.
There you go.
Exactly.
I mean, smart on them, shame on us, because now we're going to be screwed.
Not necessarily.
And
shame.
they on East Bay champs.
Not necessarily shame on us, but that always goes back to what we always say. It's not enough of us, like from the culture, that are in those higher up places that should be up there.
But honestly, at that point, I'm not even sure how much impact you would have, because you'll probably just get drowned out by the rest of.
I mean, at some point,
there.
there's got to be somebody in those offices that has an ear to the street, but they're probably too scared to come to the street.
Being not even being in the building, positions of power. But are they really gonna let you go all the way to the chain to be like a CFO, COO of Foot Locker?
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
So that's why you got to kind of do your own thing.
Especially Gino, if he's taking people to his parents' house, you can imagine what he'd be doing in his office.
I mean, you know what Armour was doing. Kevin Point got the idea from me.
But wow, I'm not even gonna go there. We ain't got so much time left on the show. How much time we got left? 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
All right, so
maybe,
so that's what you tell your chicks. Let me see your Under Armour.
What? I was gonna take this back to someplace serious, but we had to go there.
That's your pickup.
Part of me, I blame myself for bringing it up.
Because I was definitely gonna say, look, with the position like Don is in, maybe he can get to Foot Locker.
Oh yeah, shout out to Don, man.
And change
Shout
that.
shout out to Foot Locker Detroit, man. They seem to be doing something unique. We'll see how long it lasts.
So you trying to get a shoe and they're like, we sold out. You want to order it?
Go on, go.
Want to order online? $350.
Hey, wait, hold on.
They're just going to have tablets set up in their
I was
store.
gonna say, don't they have a computer set up in the store?
Yeah,
to
they
where
do.
you can order it? There it is.
Oh, real quick though, you want to tell people about your show and plug it real quick?
Yeah, Half and Half podcast. We doing episodes
Half LeBron,
bi-weekly.
half Jay-Z.
No, half sports, half entertainment.
That's what he said.
Come on,
Have
there.
LeBron, have Jay-Z.
Second,
That's
so
exactly what
it's
he
been
just said.
fun so far. It's been interesting to dig into different topics from culture and music and stuff like that. So catch us on Podcast Detroit's website, podcastdetroit.com. Click shows, and we're like the first one at the top. So please check us out. I'm gonna have these guys on there
Already number one.
Damn, how they get to the front? What? How many downloads they getting?
I don't know. I gotta check the metrics. We're just doing it out of fun now. It's really
No,
good.
definitely. I know. I have fun listening to the first one.
Yeah.
So
I got to get on there. I got to
Yes.
ring the Googler.
yeah, I know. Yeah. You need any co-hosts?
Yeah, I couldn't either Google. I was thinking about
Like
that.
it'd be funny. It
Let's
just
go.
goes to sneaker box.
Just bum rush the
Yeah, I
show.
did.
Yeah,
Google
just
it.
segs way into sneakers. But
I could be the Googler.
Yeah, we need one.
I just won't speak on anything.
speaking of not speaking on anything, I'm working on something very, very, very special. I'm not
You
going
want to speak on it?
No,
So
just
Is it like sneaker related or us podcast related or like
both.
Interesting.
sample shoes for us?
no, not for us.
No.
Well, not to the jokes y'all made today.
There's more for him.
Forget y'all.
He gonna bring us the bad BBs.
You know that was bullshit.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, I might never get a pair, but once again, shout out to our listeners, man. Like, it's 200 episodes is a long time. A lot of shows, a lot of hours.
A lot of phone interviews.
Oh my god, yes.
Relax.
But yeah, so hopefully we get to another 200. Like I said, I'm working on something, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe I know in a week. So on that note, episode 203, live from the Podcast Detroit studios. We'll look to see you guys next week at episode 204. We love y'all. We out.
Peace.
Peace.